Hi, this is Carl Gombrich, the Programme Director, and I'd like to tell you briefly about 4 modules you may not have considered. The first module is taught by the Classics Department, and it has a code of Class 1301, and its title is The Origin of Language. Now, this is a very broad overview of the very start of human language, all languages, and it gives you therefore an excellent foundation in things like linguistics, philology, which is the scientific study of language, which goes back a long way but really took off in Europe in the 19th century and then led to a lot of continental philosophy, so it's very interesting from that perspective. You'll discuss generative grammar, how people view the way we think about language today, language and dialect, all sorts of things which underpin any language. So if you're someone who's interested in languages, perhaps wants to learn more than one language while you're with us, or thinks of themselves as working internationally, learning more languages in the future, being a translator, any of those kinds of things. Also, if you're interested in language from a philosophical perspective, this course would be very interesting to you. The second course I'd like to tell you about, just let me get my pen back, is another existing course. This is taught by the Archaeology Department, and this has a code of ARC 1003, and its title is Past Societies. Now, anyone interested in sociology, in the origins of our state and our cities, this would be an interesting one for you to get a very sort of historical perspective, and of course based on archaeological findings and artifacts. So I'll just put that in. That's a kind of historical and obviously archaeological view of our civilizations. And as I say, if you want a kind of broader sweep and a foundation to modern views of society and urban living, and of course things like the study of cities is a big business these days, then this module would be interesting to you. Now, the next 2 ones I want to tell you about are particularly interesting and exciting to me because they were commissioned especially for the BASC. And the first of these is got the code of Class 1207, and it's called Antiquity and the Modern World. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze to get this in, but I'll try. Antiquity and the modern, I'm going to abbreviate that, modern world. My finger's getting very sticky, sorry about this. Modern world. I'm going to scrunch that up again, put that in the corner if it lets me. Good. Now, the exciting thing about this is it's a particular slant on antiquity in the modern world, and it's really to do with citizenship, the state, law, democracy, justice, and things like that. So how can I summarize that? I guess politics is an important part of that. Justice, citizenship. Now, anyone interested in law on our program, or again more societal or political things, might really like, I think, this historic perspective on these issues. It gives you the foundations of Western views on these things. You can't escape that. In the West, and therefore in much of the world, what we think of in these areas of politics, democracy, justice, citizenship, rights of people, comes from the Greeks and the Romans. And this module, specially written for our program, to kind of encapsulate that from a broad arts and sciences perspective, will give you those foundations. And I have to say, and I'm not hiding anything here, these classes will also be small because they're specially written for our students. There won't be hundreds of students in these classes. There may be 1 or 2 from other areas if we throw them open, but you will have the benefit of a very intensive personal teaching relationship with the teachers. And when we ask UCL students, that comes up very high in their priorities, the ability to talk to the real lecturers, the professors, on a kind of one-to-one basis. And that module, as it won't be big, you will certainly get that experience. And the same thing applies to the last module I'm going to tell you about, which has the code, oh crumbs, I don't know why that's come out. I'm going to rub that out, just bear with me a second. So I want to go back to black, as dear Amy said. And this has the code HEBR, it's taught by a UCL historian of religion, 1007, and it's got a long title. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go on to the next page actually to do this. So I'm just going to get a new slide up here. Sorry. New slide, there we go. This has the code HEBR1007, and it has a long title which I think some people may not have seen past the title, shall we say. It's called Skeptics and Enthusiasts, but it really is a study of religion in Europe for the past 200 to 300 years. And I think this is a really important module, because if you think about global society, if you think about culture, if you think about business and economics, religion, in particular the meeting of Christianity, Islam and Judaism, is going to be very important to how we manage our affairs, shall I say, in the most general way, in the coming decades and centuries. So this also, I think, will feed very well into a second-year module we've got, an interdisciplinary elective, about, I think it's called Science Meets Religion in the Global Community. So with this background, this understanding of the role of religion in Europe and how the three great faith communities interacted, you will have a very strong base if you're interested in discussing things like science and religion in the global community. You'll have a strong base if you start from this course. So again, this will have a small group, and another attractive aspect of this module is that we're going to send you out into London to do field work, going to see some institutions, whether they be churches or mosques, synagogues or things in museums, some kind of field work when you'll see how the great faith groups can interact in cities and how that's happened throughout European history, and will play into, as I say, the second year module, and just, I think, of general interest. So please do consider those 4 modules. I guess I should say particularly consider the last 2, which have been specially written for this program, with the advantage that they're well targeted to the sorts of students we think BAS students generally will be. That is, wide ranges of skills and interests, and this will give you a good foundation to go on to many more specialized things if you'd like to do that in years 2 and 3.